and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is going to be a bonus video in our chat app series, and in this video basically what we'll be doing is that we'll integrate two things. One would be the notification system, where basically we'll send notification to user for the message that we send into the group, and the second thing would be to add the call feature. So like if user wants to have a group call or something like that, they can do that as well. Which looks pretty exciting, right? So let's just get started. And before going towards the code, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe and leave a comment. And now let's just get started. So the first thing that I would like to do is that is to enable Firebase messaging, right? And the Firebase messaging will help us set up the notification, right? So I'll add the SDK for messaging over here, and then I'll sync it. So this is going to be the first thing that we'll do. Second thing that I'll do over here is that we'll go to the Kotlin section in this over here, and we'll create a Kotlin class. Let's call it Firebase message service. Okay, and this is going to be a class, and this is going to extend Firebase messaging service. Okay, so we'll do this, and over here we'll see on message receive. Okay, so this is the function, the first thing that we'll do, and then over here what we will do is that we'll write another function like this. Okay, and now the next thing that I'll do is that I'll see if the message dot notification is not null. We'll get the body and stuff from there, right? And now over here what we'll do is that we'll create a notification. So basically this is a very generic stuff that we'll be doing, and what we have done over here is that we basically fetch the notification service, and then through the notification compact we create a channel ID, and then based on that channel ID we set this message and stuff, right? We can more customize it more, like we can create different kind of groups for that, but for now I guess that's pretty much enough that we will do. And the next thing that I want is that this service should be registered in our manifest as well. Okay, so we will come over here, and right over here let's just say Firebase service, and other than that we'll also define this intent messaging event as well. Along with that we'll export it to be false. So this is the first step. We are done with this thing. The second thing that I'll do here over say in the view model over here, the second thing that I would like to do is that when we listen for the message, I'll also subscribe for that, right? So it's something like you subscribe to a specific topic, and that topic when basically we send a push notification for that topic, like in our case will be a group, so like we will be creating a topic based on our group IDs, and once someone basically send a message or notification towards that group, it will be received. So to receive that, what we will do is that we'll go Firebase messaging dot get instance dot subscribe to the topic, right? And then what we'll do is that something like this, and over here what I'm gonna say is that let's say something like this. Okay, now when do we do this, right? Basically over here you see we have this channel ID over here. So what I'm gonna do is that I'll create a subscribe over here like this. That is the first thing. Now we have subscribed to that channel ID. So let's say for the first time, whenever I someone install the app and they have those all channel, when they click on some specific button to open that chat, they will also be subscribed. So let's say if they close the app, they'll be subscribed to that channel, and then when someone send the message, we will handle that to send to those subscription as well. Okay, so this is the first thing, right? And the second thing is that I would like to add on complete listener as well, and the reason for that is that I would like to log those values, like if something is successfully done, let's log that and see if we have, right? And let's say something like this. Okay, and if it's fail, this means that the subscription failed for some reason. So we'll post this. Okay, this is the one side. So the second thing is that sending a notification. So basically there are two ways to set up this, and the first way is to do it through cloud function, but unfortunately the cloud function is only available for an upgraded. Basically if you have a billing plan, only you can then access the cloud functions, and it's really cool thing. You can like use the same listener on your messages, and then if there is a message you can send a specific notification from a function. But since that is not available in our case right now, so what we will be doing is that we'll do it in another way. Okay, and that way is through using the FCM API. Okay, so what we'll be doing is that we'll create a function and say post notification to users, right? And this is going to have something like this, right? So let's just remove this. So the function name is that we have a channel ID, then we have a title, and then we have a message. So these three things would be required. And this other thing is that will require a URL as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'll post that URL over here, and over here you can see that you have this project ID that you need to replace, right? And this is something, right? The second thing is the payload. Okay, so for a payload, what I'll do is that I'll copy the payload as well and paste it over here. And over here you can see that this channel ID is also channel ID. Let's say sender name, and then this is going to be message content, right? Okay, so once we do that, what we have is that we have a FCM URL and we have a JSON body, right? These are the two things that we have, and then what we need to do is that we need to send a request, and then we'll create just a request body. We'll create a string out of this JSON object that we have, and the next thing that we would do is that we'll create a request, and then that request is going to be object, and that's going to be string request. Since basically the string request is not available for us over here, something like this, I guess, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so basically what it does is that basically this is a string request comes from Volley, a library that we use, that we have for making smaller API call. You can use retrofit here as well. You can use OKHTTP as well, but since it's like a very lightweight API call, I'll basically use Volley over here. Okay, once the build is done, you'll be able to like use this, and then you can import the response from Volley as well. Now you can see that you have this, right? We also have some logs for success case and then for failure case, and this is really interesting over here that you need to pass these two headers as well. This is for bearer, and then over here we'll pass a token, and that token comes from a really interesting place. So basically that is also something that I'll explain, but this should be like the stuff that we have done. Okay, and once that whole thing is done, like this request setup is done, the next thing that we would do is that we'll enqueue that request. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that volley.new request, so we'll say is that vol queue is equals to this, right? And since it requires a context, we don't have the context, and I'll tell you how we can get that. Since we don't have this context, what we will do is that over here in this we'll annotate it as application context, and then we'll see vol context is, sorry, this is to be context. Okay, so we will be using the Hilt annotation for that, and that will help us get the context. Now there is this thing that we need, this access token that we need, and this is this project ID as well. So okay, from now over here you see that we have this. Okay, and the first thing that we need, as I mentioned, that we need the project ID. So this is our project ID, that's this. Okay, and so I'll replace that with this over here. The second thing is to get a JSON file for the service, right? For that, what we need to do is that we need to go to the console. So what we need to do is that we'll open this cloud console for our app, and from here over here you can select the project that you would like to do. And now when you get this is like a lot of information, right? So the next thing that you would go and is to go to the API and services. Okay, and once that is open, you'll search for service account. Okay, so this is the service account that you need to go, and then you click over here, and then once you click over here you'll see this Firebase admin SDK. So you click on that, and after clicking on that, it will take you over here, right? And so basically once you are here, you can go to the keys, and right now there is no key, right? So just create a new key and create a JSON key, right? Once you do that, you'll have the key downloaded. So just download that key, and the next thing that you will do is that let's just get over here, go to resource, create a new directory, call it a raw, right? So and then from there what we need to do is that we need to get that key, and I'll just rename that key to something useful. Okay, and now I'll copy that file and paste it into the raw. Okay, so this will come over here. Okay, and the other thing is that now we need to get the access token from this key to read that key, like the key from this JSON. And for that purpose what we will do is that we'll create another function, and let's just call it get access token. Okay, I think we don't need the context because we already have the context. Now to access token we need to integrate one more library, so let's just do that as well. And for that what we need to do is that we need to integrate this SDK over here. So we'll add this over here, right? And along with that there is just some conflict with the way the app is done. You need to add these lines as well, right? You can find these details, all these details, in the GitHub repository as well, and also I'll try to add it to the description as well of the video. But once you do that, you will let's just build it. And now once you build it, what we'll do is that we'll create an input in stream, or let's say input stream, and say context dot resources dot open raw resource, and say r dot raw dot, we need to import the r, and r dot raw dot getter key. Okay, this is now the resource file that we have the access for that resource file. The next thing is that we need to create Google threads, and for that what we'll do is that we'll go for Google auth credential dot from stream, right? Let's say Google okay, so Google credential dot from stream, say create scoped, and then you need to define the list of scopes. So I'll just copy that, this URL, right? So it should be scoped, right? And then we will be using something like this. Okay, so now we have this, and now over here what we will do is that we'll use this, like all this function. Okay, now what we have done is that basically get access token is been taken from there, right? And that will basically help us do the necessary stuff. And I guess once we do that, we are pretty much done with what we need. Now there is just one more catch to do, and that is basically when user sends a message, we'll post this notification, right? And when do we do that? So let's say this is the message section. This is the section where basically we'll be sending everything. Now over here that you can see that we just set value and we don't check for the success case. So what we'll do is that add on complete listener, okay? And we'll say if successful, we'll say post notification to the first. Right. Yes, something wrong happened. Yeah, this something like this. Okay, and this message text can be like either message text or an empty. So for empty, like if someone sends an image, it might be empty because in that case the image will be there. But I guess we'll just test it for the this messages. Okay, so I guess that's pretty much what we want, and I can make it this private as well. There is one more thing that I can do is that we will show the notification for only those user if, like, the, let's say if, let's say fire firebase dot auth dot import firebase auth dot current user dot let. So we will see if title contains or message content, like if both contains the user ID, this means that this is the same user that basically sent this message. So we'll just not send that, else we'll just create the notification and show it. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is that I'll run this on two devices. One would be the API 30, and then you can run the both API 33 as well. So once we do that, okay, so the basically the app just open on this one, and now let's just wait so that the app opens on this one as well. Okay, so now both the devices have the app open. Okay, now you can see that both the applications are open. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is that I'll open this one for first time. Let's say, okay, now this chat screen is open and all these things are there. Okay, and I'll do the same for this one as well. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna send a message hello, right? When I send this, there are expected that we receive a notification, right? But before that, I want to make sure if our API has like successfully did what we wanted to do. So we'll do is that it says that notification sent successfully. Okay, so basically it says that you can see that it says that the no channel found for package, and the reason for that is that definitely we didn't created any channel with this name, right? So we need to create a channel as well, and for that what we will be doing is that wall channel is equals to notification channel, right? We'll say that you need to like wrap it around, and then this. Okay, and then we'll pass the channel to this. Doing this, in fact, we'll say, well, channel is equals to this, right? And then we'll pass this. Okay, now if I run it again, now if you run it, basically we'll do is that over here notification, let's open this and then this. Now when I send a message, I send a message, you'll see a notification popping up over here, right? This is now coming from the notification that we created. So basically this was the first part of the video, which would basically allow us to create notifications for our app. And the second thing that I would like to do is to have two buttons over here in the title that basically allows me to make a call or a video call to the group. But for that we'll need some adjustment to do before we can do that, right? So let's just see how we can integrate the video call feature to this. Okay, to integrate video call feature, what we need to do is that we need to integrate ZEGOCLOUD, right? If ZEGOCLOUD, I have basically created a whole video on how to integrate ZEGOCLOUD into our Compose app, and you can find that video in my channel. I'll pin it over here somewhere. Okay, and you can go over there, and then from there you can check it how it goes, like how you can integrate. I'll basically try to explain it a little over here so that you have an idea of how it works and how we can do that, right? Right now I have this something like this, and what I need to do is that I'll create a new project, and that is going to be video call, right? So I'll click on this on the bottom section. I'll name my project as chatter, and then I'll go with start with UI kit. Okay, so this is pretty much enough that you will be doing. So basically what we need to do is that will do like this, and then from here you can go for Android, right? And let's say I want to create a call for groups, and then we'll see save and start integration. Okay, so now I got this chatter app. Okay, and now you can see that we have this app sign and this app ID over here that you can use. But for now, let's just keep it like this for now, and then go to the code. Okay, and integrate the SDK. So basically for ZEGOCLOUD, what we do is that we integrate two different SDKs, right? The first one is for ZEGOCLOUD, and the second one is for permissions. Okay, and other than that, what we need to do is that in the settings.gradle file we need to define the repositories for ZEGOCLOUD SDK as well, because it's not available in the Google Maven or Maven Central. So what we need to do is that we need to define the Jetpack and this Zego storage as well. Okay, and now let's just sync it. Okay, so once the build is done, you can see that the stuff is being imported. What we need to do is that we need to go to our chat screen. Okay, so let's just get to the chat screen where the chat will be displayed, and right in the bottom section over here, what I'm gonna do is that I'll create a composable, right? And let's just call it function call button. Okay, and it will be something like this. It will say video call, and then right, and we don't need this. The second thing that I want is that we need an Android view for that. Okay, and then this factory. The factory is basically, sorry, my factory is supposed to be wall. Okay, I guess that's pretty much auto completed. Plenty of things right over here. Okay, so what we have done is that you can see that I created this Zego call button over here. It's an invitation button, and then video call means that this is the variable for that. Resource ID is Zego, and then button. And this basically have some problem with the app compact text view. So basically what we need to do is that we need to add the material as well. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is that I'll add the material SDK to the system as well. over here like this. I'll sync it. One more thing that over here is that we would like to do is that we need to go for material component, and rather than dark, I'll go for no action. Okay. And now once you do that, these error will go away, and now you can see that the Zego call listener will be done. Okay, now what we need to do, the second thing that we need to do is that in our chat messages section over here, you see that we have this channel item section, and this channel item is basically a header that basically contains a box that have this text. Right now what we will do is that create a box. Okay, and I'll call it modifier dot fill max width. Okay, and now take this raw and I'll paste it inside this. Okay. So I've got this, right? And now from here I'll just take these two, or maybe all these things, right, and then add it over here, so that all the property is being done over here, and then we can align this based on what we have. So I'll just do it modifier dot, or maybe you can say modifier, but over here what we'll see that modifier. Okay, and then modifier dot align, right, and we'll see center start. Okay, and now over here we'll create another row, something like this. And over here we'll do is that we'll see call button, and then is video call true, and then again another call button with this call true false. And then over here now what we'll do that make call to users, right? Although I think I've done everything. Oh, okay, I just missed one thing, and that is we need to implement the libs.material as well. So basically the SDK that we had, we need to add that as well over here. And once we do that, this error will go away, right? And now you can see that this error has gone away. Okay, so the second thing that over here what we did is that we use this button over here, and then we need to make call to user from there. And from one problem over for this specific section is that we don't have the user IDs that we require for a channel, right? So we need to somehow register the user IDs somewhere for the channels, so that when user open a chat, they are registered to that chat channel. So, and then once they are registered to that channel, they are able to make the calls and stuff, right? So we need to figure out a way for that as well. But before that, you have this call button set up over here, right? And now the next thing is that one thing I guess I missed over here is in the call button, that it's not going to be a unit, it's going to be a Zego invitation button as well. The reason for that is that we need the Zego call button as well for making the invites. And now if I go back to the, definitely is going to be now over here, but we'll show you that we'll say, or you can say IT dot set invitees, and then over here what we'll do is that we'll create mutable list of Zego UI kit user, and then over here we need to define, you know, the IDs and password, and then as many as user that we have will basically add all those user over here. But since we don't have that for now, we will figure out a way for registering that user IDs for the channels, and then make video calls to them or audio calls to them, allow them to do that. Okay, and then the same stuff is going to be done for this over here, right? This is the first part of the app for the video calls connectivity. The other part is going to be when the user sign in, we need to basically allow the user to register some listeners for receiving the calls. Okay, so for that, what we will do is that we'll create a function init ZEGO service, and it requires some stuff like it will require app ID as long and something like this, right? And over here what we'll do is that we'll initialize the ZEGO service. How do we do that? I have explained pretty much a lot about that in the video. So in this section, I'll just copy paste the same code that I wrote over there, and then just import whatever we have. And then the next thing is that we need to use like some permission as well for this, and that permission is basically once the user are basically, as soon as user opens the app, I would like them to request for permission, and that is going to be fragment activity as well. Okay, so pretty much the initiation is done, and this notification as well for permission as well. So permission is handled, and then one more thing over here that we would like to do is that to add this system alert window notification permission as well. This is also important over here. And now once user signs in, so like right now initially the main app, if you go to main app and in this sign structure over here, this is the place where basically users should land. And now the thing is that when user lands over here, I would like the user to register, like to initiate, and that is going to be how should I say, launched effect, right? Call it a unit. We'll create a context dot current as a main activity, right? And now from here what I'll do is that I'll create context dot init ZEGO. Okay, and now we have app ID and user ID. At least we have the user ID, and that is going to be Firebase dot auth dot current user, and I'll wrap it around let, so that if it's not null, only then we basically initiate it. And the app ID is going to be the app ID that I'll get. App sign is going to be something that I'll get from the system, and then user ID is going to be it dot email, right? And the same thing is going to be for the user ID and user email. So this is going to be something like this. Okay, and for this let's just create a const class and call it app ID, and then okay, so over here we'll see app ID from that file, and then app sign from that app, right? And then I'll copy those app ID and app sign from there, from from over here, I'll just copy the app ID. And from here, I'll call. And then I'll paste this app ID as well, sign as well. Okay, now I guess need to define this to be long. Okay, so once I do that, I have pretty much everything set up and in place. Now the one thing that I would do is that we'll just run it, right? Okay, so basically what I'm gonna do is that we'll create another section for the channels. So let's say in the home screen, so like I did over here, I basically registered into this section. What I'll do is that as soon as like this, as I have done subscription, I'll also do one more thing, is that if the user ID is not available, I'll register the user ID into this as a PB reference. Okay, so what I'll do is that I'll create a function over here, function register user ID to channel. Okay, so let's just do a couple of things before that. So I'll add this, or like I'll keep it like this, first thing, right? Second thing is that I want is that all graphics, something like this. Okay, so basically I did this. What I did is basically I created channel and underscore, I created the channel ID, and then inside the channel IDs I've done users. So basically, so that we have this user section. Okay, and then what we'll do is that we'll say ref. So what we'll do is that I'll say child user ID, right? And then I'll create a add listener for this, and then we'll create a value event listener, and it will say that if the snapshot already exists, so like if there is a UID already available, this means that will already exist and we don't do that. But if it doesn't exist, what we'll do is that we'll for the UID we'll create a value, and that is going to be the email, right? Because we need the email. Okay, so that is done. Okay, what it will do is that it will register the IDs to listeners, and then what I'm gonna do is that I'll check if it actually works. Okay, now let's just run it. I guess this is the right time to run it and see if everything is working as expected. Ideally, what I would expect is that whenever I open this, I should have a user ID in the Firebase, and I'll open Firebase as well to verify I have this. And then in the real-time database, let's see what we have right now. You can see I have this channel, and they have these channels created, and then we have this, messages as well. So let's just allow this for, and then for now let's just ignore the buttons. We'll basically remove this, and this is the permission that I basically added for video calls. Now if I click over here, ideally what it should do is that it should create a users, and then against the user it should create my email. Is an ideal situation. What happens if I go back and come again over here? So now this time it won't do it, right? And let's say if I go to the new to another, it will create the my user ID as well. So basically what happens is that every time I open a chat screen or a chat, it will register my user ID into that. Okay, and that's what I wanted, because I need the user IDs. And the second thing is that basically now I want all the IDs as well to be returned. So that's one thing. Okay, the second thing is that over here I'll create another function, and I'll say get all user IDs. Okay, and that is again for the, but this is not going to be a return. Okay, I'll do is that I'll create a callback for that, Okay, and what we have done is that we say that go to channels and channel ID and then users and then find all the user IDs. Okay, and then it will, like, for each we'll add the key, but we don't need the key. I guess we need the value, something like this. If I'm not wrong, it should be something like this. What we have done is basically we have children, and then for each children we'll rather than key we'll go for IDs. Okay, I guess something wrong, but yeah. So what we have done is we basically the same reference, we use the same reference, db reference.child for channel, then channel ID, and then user, and inside the user we will get all the listeners, all the data, and once all the data is available we'll create a list out of it. And now what I'll do is that I'll just go to callback.invoke and pass that user ID to this. Okay, and now if I go to the home screen where basically this section was done, right, this on call section, what we'll do is that, so what I want is that when user click on this chat button, it should give a callback to my parent, to the parent section with the same button functionality, and say that okay, now the button, like someone has clicked on the call button and now we need to make a call. And for that I'll just add one more on call, and basically this is going to be, sorry, this is going to be something like this. Okay, and now we need to all add the Zego invitation button as well. This is important because this will basically define what we need to do over here so that we don't do all these things. So I'll just copy this for once and then remove it from here as well. And rather than using these callbacks, I'll just do on call so that it goes to the parent. And just remove the preview item, we don't need it. Over here what I'm gonna do is that I'll say on call equals to nothing, and then click channel item have further as an on click. So on click we use the nav controller dot navigate, let's say chat slash channel dot id, and $sign says channel dot name. Let's copy this, making a mess out of it. And now poles fluctuation taken out. Are done. Okay, this was the problem. Okay, we need a comment. Okay, and now this on click is done. And there is just one more property that I would like to add, is that false, and that is basically to show the value should show call buttons. Okay, the reason for that is basically for the homes list section I don't want to show these values, right? So I'll just show a false for this, and this row will only be available if it show, then we'll show these buttons, else just the normal behavior. Okay, now this channel item is also called from the chat screen as well, from over here. Now I'll say true, right, and then on click going to be this, but on call, what I'll do is that I'll say it dot send invites to mutable list of, and then over here basically what I want. So basically uh, I have the view model over here. Basically, let's just pass the view model to this chat message as well. View model, chat view model over here from the chat messages. All this over here. Okay, let's say sorry, view model. Okay, now we have this view model over here, and now what I'll do is that I'll go to view model dot get all user emails, right? We'll pass channel ID. I don't have right now, but I'll definitely get that, and then we'll create wall mutable, sorry, wall list is equals to mutable list of, right? That is going to be mutable list of Zego UI kit users. Okay, and then rather than this, what we'll do is that we'll see dot add, and inside the add I'll add this. Okay, now I need this channel ID as well, so I'll just create a channel ID for this as well. Okay, and now in the chat section over here we will send channel name, we'll see channel ID is equals to channel ID. Have I done something wrong? I guess this is fine. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Channel ID is equals to channel ID. Okay, let's pass the channel ID as well. And now it will say that you need to move it out of the lambda. It's fine, sounds good. And now there are two different things. So what I'll do is that I'll say call button. Okay, and this, and then I'll use this over here, right? And now I'll use this list rather than that. Again, so it was like a lot of stuff that we did. What we have done is that we created a function that basically fetches all the user emails from for that channel ID. Okay, and then once we receive that, we create a list of the Zego UI kit user, and then we add all those users into this list, and then we send the invites. Okay, so ideally this should help us create this whole flow that we wanted. Now what I'm going to do is that I'll select multiple devices again and run it on both the users. Now again, this device also need a permission, so let's just give the permission to this device as well. Open this and then go back. Now I have no buttons over here, right? But let's just go over here, the code with FK for both the devices. Okay, now I have these, and now I guess I found the issue. What we were doing is that in the list we were also adding the user that have basically the current user. So what we need to do is that we need to not add that, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'll say Firebase dot auth dot current user dot email, sorry, not current user, right? So what we'll do is that we can also add email as well, and we'll see if it equals to em. So the above email, so that email equals to em. Let's just so if it's not equals, then we add it only. Okay, so basically I found the issue, and the reason is that basically you need to call this function from invoke this function from here, because this is where the data should appear, right? And on error we can also send it as an empty. Yeah, I guess that's already a empty list in pass. Okay, so now I'll run it again, and it was a silly mistake, sorry about that from my end. I was not looking at the code properly. So yeah, now we'll just rerun everything from both devices. And now okay, it's there. Let's just open the, I'm just going to try from here, right? And now you can see that you can like create a call to join that call, and you open that, you have this whole session, right? Now let's just see if a third device, like since it's a group chat, we should also like be able to run it on a third device as well. So I'll just run the code on third device. I hope my system would be able to uh, execute this, because it's a lot with emulators. But let's just see if it can do it. We are here. Just wait for the chat screen. Okay, now we have this, right? I'm gonna send a hi message to this, and once we send that message, we got this notification as well, this device. And yeah, now when I did it, you can see that I got a call from on both devices, and then now you can see that it's working on like three different devices are connected, and a group chat is going on. And let's say if I close it, now it's gone to two devices, right? And then if everyone goes, just go away. So this is pretty cool, right? And now I'll click over here. There is some problem, I guess, for some reason, but yeah, you can see that we can also make the audio calls as well, and that is also done. So yes, this was it. I hoped you'd like this video, and if you did, please don't forget to comment down below and tell me how did you like it, or if you didn't like it, please also share your suggestion with me of what I did wrong, where I like where I could have done better. So these things basically help me get better with my content. But other than that, I guess this is pretty much it from my side. This video was basically a bonus video, since you guys comment a lot about adding the push notification features. So basically, this was it for today from my side. Please do subscribe to the channel if you like my content, and share it with the people that you think can get benefited. So you can also join my Discord server. That will basically help us communicate better. But yeah, this was it for today, and I'll see you in the next. Bye.